Today we got to do a valve job on a set of twin cam heads. So we're going to show you how we're going to cut the heads with a set of new way cutters. And we've got this old valve grinding machine that I've had for many years. And we're planning to redo the valves on it, and hopefully they're not gone so bad that we have to replace them. But once we try to grind them, we'll know how much of a little area is left on the bottom of the valve. And we can judge by then to see whether we have to replace the valve or whether we can go with it the way it is. So we'll show you what we go through, and we'll get ready to do the valves. So before we get started, I've got this little diamond tipped cutter here, and we're just going to face off the front of the wheel. Make sure it's true. Good. We'll lock that in at 45 degrees. There, that sounded good, and it cut nice and even all around the outside. And that gives you a nice cut around it. We'll just measure the land here to see how much we've got left and see if it's going to be usable, but I think we're going to be okay. So we're going to go along and do the rest of the valves now, and then we'll get over to the head and start cutting our seats. Nice smooth surface. That should do it. So before we go too far, we're going to take our little flex hone here, and this is a 7mm flex hone that's made for these guides. And I just want to make sure that there's no crud in the guides, in the stems. Just want to make sure that there's no carbon buildup inside of those before we start to cut them. So we've got our little dowel thing here. And we're going to take one of our new way cutters. These have a 45-degree angle on one side and a 31-degree angle on the other side for the top one. Generally Harleys don't come with a 3-angle valve job, but they do here. Just take a light cut off of our 45. As you can see, we're starting to get a ring in there. It's hard to see, I know. We're going to turn it over, put a little 31 on the top, just down to that mark. Not quite all the way around yet. All right, and then we've got a small 60-degree one for inside, down inside the chamber. Now we're almost there. Just give it a little more small cut, and then we'll dress up the 45 a bit. Back into the 45. A little bit more. I think we'll leave that one at that. The seats are burned up pretty bad in it. Start with 60 so I can see where I'm going. Just a light cut down there to start with. And I always kind of like to do the 31 on the top just to clean things up, to give me an idea of how much of the 45 is actually showing. There's a black, you see a black ring in there. That's the 45 that's not been cut, and the other two angles have been cut on it. Just want to make sure that we've got all the pits cut out if there's any pits in the seat. We're still getting some there, that 45. Those are burnt spots in it. If we don't get them out, it'll just very quickly build up carbon in there, and then the valve will leak again. And there we go, it's clean all around in there. And that's the first of a 3-angle valve job in there. So we're going to go along and do the rest. You can see how the intake valve is really burnt. It's all black and pitted. So we're about to fix that up. 60 at the bottom. That way we end up with a black line around the center with the 45, and we can see how big an area is left there for the seat. We don't want to go too far with the 60 or we'll cut the seat right out of it. Yeah, that looks good. Just that easy. Now we've gone from that burnt hole to a nice 3-angle valve job on that. And this bike will breathe considerably better. So what I'm going to do now is lap them with lapping compound. I just do it because I'm old school, and I like to make sure that that's where they are. A lot of people don't bother. They just fire the valves in and they don't even bother with the 3 angles. But I want to make this bike breathe good as best as I can do to it. So we'll lap them in, and I get to see then where the valve is sitting on the seat, and then I can adjust the seat to bring the valve up or down to get it where we want. So we'll come back to you when we get that ready to go. So we're going to take some valve grinding compound here, some lapping compound, and just mix it up. At this point we pay particular attention to which head we got. I believe this is the rear. So when we've done our valves and all our parts, we've marked our boxes front and rear, so we know which is which. So this is the rear that we're working with today. And we're going to take our intake valve to start with. And we're just going to put compound on it. Just place the compound around the valve like that. We're going to slide the valve down in here. Fits nicely. Center up our little tool. We got up a block of wood so that the valve can stick out through. And we're just on the edge of the valve, which is not uncommon with these. A good seat on there. I know it's hard to see, but we can see a mark around this now, and we're right out on the lip. We spray it with a little contact cleaner and stuff in there. You can see right in the valve that it's making a seat all the way around. So we're going to try and move that position of this right on the edge to get it up more centered. That'll be the plan. We don't want to go too much because we don't want to drop it down into the head too far. So we're going to cut the 31 down a little bit to try and move that down into the head there. There we go. And we'll give it a little try again. And that's bringing it down closer to the center already. You can see it. Just a little bit more, I think. Quite a big contact area there. So we're safe to take some more off. The biggest thing is to go slow. Go slow. Don't get too anxious. get overly anxious. Next thing you know, you've cut the valve guide way past where you want to do it, your valve seat. Just keep moving up into the head. We don't want that. Just want to try and get it to seat a little closer to the center line of the valve. See the white mark around the valve here? We've moved it up a bit already. So I think I'll take one more little cut off of that, and that should about put us where we want to be. Nice seat around there. Very tedious and time-consuming process, but I like to get it the best I can. It's all about the breathing. If you can't breathe, you can't make power. There with that. Now you can see the small little gray line on there. It was right out to the edge. Now it's moving up towards the center. So one more cut in there, and then we should just about have that where we want. It's no longer down on the edge. The foggy part, not shiny, the dull part, is actually the lapping compound on the seat. So we'll have to go along and do the other ones, and this head should be ready to go. We've tried to get as much out of the combustion chambers that were all black and inside, and now we're just liberally spraying everything, trying to get any kind of compound or anything that's in there out before we assemble the heads. So we're going to spray these and clean the ports, and then we're going to wash them in hot water, blow them out, see what they're like then, maybe wash them again, just to be doubly sure. I don't think there's much in there, but there's always that chance that there's some in there and it'll play havoc with the motor. So we'll make sure that it's thoroughly clean and that we're happy with it, and then it'll be ready to go on the bike. And this engine should breathe a hell of a lot better than what it did when it came in here, for sure, and even from stock. They're just a single valve cut on them, with the inside cut and the outside cut. The 3 angles gives it a lot nicer flow, and it does make a little bit of a difference on it. So the feedback I get from the heads going out, guys are really happy with them, and they seem to work good, and they notice a difference. And if they notice a difference, you've done something right. So now we're getting ready to assemble our heads here, and we've been very careful to mark everything so we have the rear and the front heads so the valve guides go in the same place. We've replaced these with kibble white top hats, which are a lot better than the originals. The originals were prone to leak as they were 2-piece units like this, went together, and they found that they leaked around here. So the well-made ones are made as a 1-piece unit. We're going to use those. So the first thing we're going to do is our intake valve. So we're going to liberally put some engine lube on it. And we'll slide it up into our head like that. I'll try with one of our little sleeves that sometimes work, sometimes don't. We're going to try it. There we go. Push that down. Valves up. And that protects the stem so that these don't cut into it. Now that that is down in place, and we'll do our rear one while we're here. Here we go. sleeve on it. There we go. Push the valve up when we get our sleeve off. Set that down. All right. Then we'll go along and do the same with the front head. Start with the intake. Now we're ready to install the valves into the head, so we'll move over here and get that done. Now we're getting ready to put our heads together. I've machined up this little piece for the valve guides, and it was good for shovels and Evos and stuff, but the springs into the newer ones are smaller in the top, so what I've done is taken a valve collar out of a shovel head and turned it down a little bit so that the top of the spring fits right in it. And that enables us, and this will fit on our tool and enable us to push it down and compress it. So by taking a valve collar, an old one, and just turning it out to fit these, you're able to still use your installer without having to buy a new compressor. We're going to put our spring in, our top collar, get it in place. Going to take our new little collar, that down on there. Make sure you're centered there so it'll go up through. Set of keepers. And make sure your keepers are centered in place. And let it down until it locks. There we go. Small tap, make sure that they're seated in, and we'll go around and do the same thing on the other one. Once you've got a little bit of pressure on it, then you can make sure that your new tool is centered, and just crank it up. There we go. Okay. When I have a hard time, all I gotta do is turn the camera on. Last one to go, huh? So there I have it all together. Our heads are ready to go for customer. And I'm quite confident that they'll breathe better than what he had. They were carboned up. The valve seats were burned up pretty bad in it. But the guides were good in it, so we didn't have to replace the guides. And with the new type of seals in there, should eliminate any oil dribbling down through it. So we're good with those. We'll give him a call here and he can come get them. And now we'll be on to our next project.